President, you've already talked about how important it is to safeguard the water bodies and the forest reserves. But over the past 9 months since you became president, the turbidity levels in the water bodies have worsened, according to the Water Resources Commission.
Guys, John Dramani Mahama, the president of the land, Ghana, has been fire. In fact, he has been trending recently on the social media. When it comes to the Galamsey issue, a lot of people in Ghana are complaining of this particular issue. The Galamsey issue has been trending in Ghana. Right, here is DF channel. If you first time, follow on Facebook DF channel, on TikTok DF channel, on YouTube df.channel. Subscribe, drop your comment. Right, let's do it together.
DF channel, not so life. B.
John Dramani Mahama first encounter with the media, he dropped something concerning about Galamsey. When it comes to the Galamsey issue in Ghana, is something that has been harmful to our water system, our food, even in our health. A lot of people are complaining about this issue. Any president that will come to power would want to try to stop this particular issue. But along the line, a lot of presidents have come to pass, but this issue keep on repeating itself. Anyone will come and promise us that when I come, the Galamsey issue, I'm going to stop it. But any president that will come, this issue, the way it was, that is how it happened. The past government, President Akufo-Addo even promised his presidency seat to fight Galamsey. But then expiring president John Dramani Mahama also looks like, okay, you promised your presidency, but you couldn't fight. And he gave it to him.
It's like he doesn't live in this country. Because I've commented on Galamsey over and over again. The Ministry of Energy and Natural Resources gave political leaders the platform to outline their policy on small-scale mining. And for a whole hour, I outlined our policy. After that, there was questions and answers for 2 hours. We were there for 3 hours. So he should just tell his Flagstaff House media to get him the tape of what I said at the University of Energy and Natural Resources. Recently, when I met the clergymen, the Christian community, a part of my speech and the questions and answers was again on Galamsey and small-scale mining. And so, I mean, there's a lot that I've said. It is his responsibility. The people of Ghana elected him. He is currently the president of Ghana. And it is his responsibility to deal with Galamsey now. I know that after 7 January 2025, when Ghanaians have voted for me, I will take that responsibility and we will sort out illegal mining.
People have been talking about this Galamsey issue. This is the 8th month exactly when John Dramani Mahama become the president of the land. And a lot of people are complaining about the Galamsey issue. And this is the... Okay. Then John Dramani Mahama said, okay, this is my first encounter with the media since again in the land of Ghana 2025. He said, okay, let's do it Jojo with the media. Then questions that you people have, you can ask me any question. When I got to the question and answer, in fact, somebody from multimedia who's a seasoned journalist, Kojo Yanshin, said, okay, I have a question for you, President of the land.
President, you've already talked about how important it is to safeguard the water bodies and the forest reserves. But over the past 9 months since you became president, the turbidity levels in the water bodies have worsened, according to the Water Resources Commission. Ghana Water Company supports this by saying that they've had to shut down several treatment plants because the water sources are too polluted for them to process. Besides that, we know that there have been increased incursions into forest reserves for Galamsey. We've also heard from your transport minister that we are importing more excavators than ever before, over 200 a day. My question about this is about its effect on the economy. Recently, the finance minister has been touting the work of the Gold Board led by Sami Jemfi for being an anchor to the economy, especially when it comes to stabilizing the city. My question is, does your government know, is your government able to tell the difference between gold from Galamsey and gold from regular concessions when the Gold Board is buying gold from local producers? And could it be, because so much of it comes from Galamsey, could that be the reason why we are seeing some reluctance recently in the fight against Galamsey, in the sense that the IGP's efforts have been stopped, and he's brought back his men from the forests? Could this be because?
Thank you very much. I think
After that particular answer that he answered the seasoned journalist Kojo Yankson from Multimedia, people are saying, no, John Dramani Mahama, you have been an excellent president, but this is your response to Galamsey. It seems things are not going well.
I never expected, or I never deluded myself that the fight against illegal gold mining or Galamsey was going to be an event. I mean, definitely, there's no magic wand. The decay has eaten so much over the last 8 years that it's going to take a lot of work to be able to overcome it. And I didn't expect that in 18 months we would declare victory in the fight. As the livelihoods of about 4 million Ghanaians is on small-scale mining. And so it's going to be a process. It's not going to be an event. But we will not give up. We have a determination to get on top of it. The Gold Board was introduced as part of reforms. And if the Gold Board was not introduced, I mean, those who were taking the profits from the small-scale mining sector were the foreign traders who were taking that money away. In 6 months, we have exported over $6 billion. About $4 billion of that money was going to go into the private or foreign traders. And so the first thing is you shut the stable door so that the horse doesn't escape, which is what we've done. So if it's from illegal sources, it's from legal sources. At least it's our land that is being destroyed. So let us get the benefit of it instead of foreign traders. So that's the first thing. But if you go and read the Gold Board law, it has a requirement for tracking and tracing. And as I speak, the Gold Board is working with an organization to put on a track and trace system. And so they're going to see those who have legitimate license requirements so that they can assist them in responsible mining, so that we can buy that gold off them. Once we do tracking and tracing, it's in our interest, because then we can export under LBMA, and we'll get more profit from exporting under LBMA. So the Gold Board is not just about buying gold, it's also about financing responsible small-scale mining. And mind you, small-scale mining is not illegal in this country. It's provided for in our laws. It's just that in many cases, we've not even trained the miners about what responsible mining is. You just see anybody who gets an excavator just goes anywhere and starts digging and washing. But small-scale mining takes place in Australia. It takes place in Canada. And so as I speak, we are organizing a trip for the Small-Scale Miners Association to Australia. Australia has given us an invitation to bring them to come and see how small-scale mining is done without destroying the environment. And so that's something we're going to take an advantage of. And the Gold Board is leading, and the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources are leading that charge. Only recently, our Minister for Lands and Natural Resources came back from Australia. And so we need to train these small-scale miners. The gold is a blessing that God gave us. It's a natural resource that God gave us to make life better for our people. It's just that the way and manner in which we are going about it is causing distraction to the environment. But it is the result of an increase in the gold price. And if you've read widely, you find that the same thing is happening in Peru. It's happening in several other countries because of the heightened gold price. And so for whatever little gold you're able to find, you get more money. Galamsey was not a problem when gold was $2,000 per ounce. But today, gold is pushing $3,600 per ounce. And because of the lack of jobs, jobless growth for several decades, there are a lot of young people who are coming out of school who have no job work to do. And so for them, that is the only livelihood. And so we must not think just about chasing them all over the place without providing alternatives for them. Because the alternative is that they should stay home and starve or go out and do something deviant. And that's why we came up with the cooperative mining concept, for which we recently lost our colleagues. They were going to launch it, the first of its kind in Anglo, because one of the things we said was that we're going to let the big mining companies seed off some of their concessions. Some of them have 400, 500 miles square. And there's gold in some parts of those concessions that they will never mine because the grams per ton of ore is so low. But yet, if you put a small-scale miner there, he can mine it effectively. And so we've discussed with them and they've all agreed. And so Anglo Ashanti was the first. They've cut a part of the concession. And that is what Omani and Murtala and Co. were going to launch, cooperative mining, so that we'll move the small-scale miners from the forest reserves where they are causing destruction and settle them on the concessions where the big mining companies have seeded. As I speak, Newmont has demarcated an area for these small-scale miners. And we have asked the big companies to mentor them and supervise them and make sure they do the right thing. So that was going to be an alternative for moving them out of the forest and other places so that they can mine under the supervision of those companies. And that's where our colleagues were going when the helicopter crashed. And so it's a program that we're going to continue so that we can give them an alternative, not just go chase them around without finding something else for them to do. And so that's something we're working on. With regards to excavators, we're enforcing the law that you must get the permits before the excavator is put on a ship. That is what the law has been, but it was not followed. And so they let the excavator land before they come and ask the Ministry of Transport for a permit. And so we've informed all the dealers that you cannot load an excavator onto a ship until you have gotten a permit. In the meantime, a lot of excavators have arrived at the port. And recently, somebody said they were being released at midnight to their owners and things. That's not true. What happens was there were so many that they had occupied a huge area of the port and congested the port. And so we found the land near Shai Hills, near the military installation. And the Field Engineers Regiment and others have been given charge to move the excavators from the port to that area so that they can free up space in the port. And they do that in the night because of traffic in the daytime. So in the night, they have the payloaders moving the excavators out of the port to the designated areas where they are supposed to be held. And before any of those excavators is released, they must be tracked, they must have a tracker on them, they must be registered by the owner of the excavator, and we must know the purpose for which the excavator has been imported. Because the construction industry also imports excavators, and so you cannot put a blanket ban on importation of excavators just because you think that every excavator is going to go into the illegal mining industry. Even the big mining companies that have licenses import excavators. And so we want to know who is importing the excavators, who it is going to. We want to be able to put a tracker on it and be able to trace that excavator wherever it is in the country. We called off the IGP's anti-Galamsey task force because they are supposed to coordinate with NIMOS, that is the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat. Unfortunately, they were not doing that. So every little commander in any this thing gets up, Galamsey phobia, they can't tell who is licensed, they can't tell who is not licensed. And so it was just like an attack on the whole small-scale mining industry. And so what we said was they should freeze their action. they should synchronize it with the National Anti-Galamsey Operational Secretariat so that they can be directed exactly to where to go in.
Even Ni Lamte van der Poel also respond to this particular issue. In fact, listen to him.
The reaction I've picked from people looks like the only response people were not too happy with was his response on the issue of the Galamsey. I think people came there expecting that the president would say, yes, I've accepted state of emergency. You understand? And so listening to various media houses, people's reaction and all those things, it looks like that's the only question and the only response from him that people were not to. But I felt that he intelligently handled that question because he made it clear that yes, state of emergency, yes, I could do that. But that is when I have exhausted all the opportunities and the legal regimes available to me as a head of state. And I think we haven't. We still have this, we still have this, we still have this that we could use to do. And two, I've never thought that from day one, I've never thought that the fight against Galamsey was going to be an event. It's a process. And we started, we've done this, we've done that. We have this number of blue water guards. We're going to recruit more. This is what they are going to do, and this is what we are going to do. It tells you that there's a plan, there's a program. Maybe that plan and that program had not yielded the sort of results that people are looking at. And as we see today, every issue, every discussion about Galamsey have been heightened by the fear that have come as a result of the problems confronting the Ghana Water Company Limited. Obvious, you know, and the sort of attempt to pass that liability to us, the ordinary consumers, which may be justified though, because they will need the sort of resources they will need to be able to cure, to provide the service. So I think that is what the only response that has not generated that much appreciation from the public. But I think in the midst of that lack of appreciation from the public.
Guys, DF channel is my pay. Like, follow my pay if you're first time coming across DF channel on Facebook, on TikTok, YouTube, DF.channel. My name is Eddie Frank. Have a great